Imagine it was a girl. Imagine you were going through this for a woman. Imagine you were going through this, but it was just something with a vagina. Imagine that. No, don't worry. It's male. Hey folks, welcome to Joel Reads Bible. I'm Joel and I'm reading the Bible, so you don't have to. That's right, I'm reading the whole entire Bible. I've said it before, but I'll reiterate it again. From the very first page, the very first, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, to the very last page, which is on and on and on, amen. Or I actually don't know what the last one is. I'm not going to look it up now. You'll just have to watch for the next 11 years. Last chapter was kind of heavy. We're not going to relive that, but we're on Genesis chapter 35, and hopefully we have some good news and nobody dies. But hey, look. It's the Bible, so anything can happen. But let's get right into it. Before we do, why don't you just hit the subscribe button? Why don't you just quickly hit it? Who cares? You're not on the app enough for it to be a problem. Hit the bell, that way you're notified, just so you know when there's a nice long episode. Really quickly, just like the video and listen to the story. And if something strikes you, hey, leave a comment, get into a conversation, and probably tell me where I'm wrong. But let's get into it. Genesis chapter 35. Then God said to Jacob, "Go up to Bethel and settle there, and build an altar to God who appeared to you when you were fleeing from your brother Esau." So Jacob said to his household and to all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods you have with you, and purify yourselves and change your clothes." The foreign gods thing, do you remember that Rachel just was into them? By the way, foreign gods... Well, I guess they're foreign gods that came into the Hebrew world. I'm assuming they're trinkets because, they can be sat upon. "Then come, let us go up to Bethel, where I will build an altar to God, who answered me in the day of my distress, and who has been with me wherever I have gone." Is God omnipresent, or is God Israel present? Is God Hebrew present? Is God with his favorite characters present? We don't know that because we really don't get an account of anything beyond this little tiny group of people, this family, essentially. So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods they had, which is basically just Rachel. She has these gods, and the rings in their ears. And Jacob buried them under the oak at Shechem, which Shechem is a person and he's also a place, I guess. Then they set out, and the terror of God fell upon the towns all around them, so that no one pursued them. Because they would have pursued them. Do you remember why? Well, I'm not going to rake up old graves because, again, the last chapter was pretty heavy. But Simeon and Levi tricked a bunch of men because of something that Shechem did. They killed them all. Justified, not justified? Listen to the episode and decide for yourself. All the other Canaanites, when they get wind of this, they will probably, we want to get them back. But terror of God fell upon the towns all around them. What does that mean? Did God facilitate that in some way? And if he did, would that not be infringing on their free will in some way? This is old-timey. This was when God would wrestle with people. All bets are off. The God of this time is completely different than the God of today, so we shouldn't really ask any difficult questions about it. Jacob and all the people with him came to Luz, that is Bethel, in the land of Canaan. There he built an altar, and he called the place El Bethel, because it was there that God revealed himself to him when he was fleeing from his brother. Now Deborah, Rebekah's nurse, died and was buried under the oak below Bethel. So it was named Allon Bakuth. After Jacob returned to Padan Aram, God appeared to him again and blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob, but you will no longer be called Jacob. Your name will be Israel." So he named him Israel. Again, just a little redundancy, but we should be getting used to it by now, right, gang? And God said to him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and increase in number. A nation and a community of nations will come from you, and kings will come from your body. The land I gave to Abraham and Isaac, I will also give to you, and I will give this land to your descendants after you. So, yeah, we know that. All right. Then God went up from him to the place where he had talked with him. Jacob set up a stone pillar at the place where God had talked to him, and he poured out a drink offering on it. He also poured oil on it. So this is new information. There was a drink and oil. I think last time it was just oil, but then again, who knows? Jacob called the place where God had talked with him Bethel. This is, why are we retelling the story? It's like in a movie where he's like, oh, yeah, I've been here before. And then they show you the memory scenes from like a previous film. The only difference is this was 5 chapters ago. We don't need the recap. God, think of Genesis as one movie. It's a long movie, you know. It's a 3-hour epic. I don't think we need this whole recap thing. I think it's just getting the word count up in it. Just getting that word count up. Then they moved on from Bethel. While they were still some distance from Ephrath, Rachel began to give birth and had great difficulty. Boy, she's really nailing it. Like a lot of the other ones, they're done. Like they haven't been popping out new kids for some time. But Rachel, I mean, she was barren for a while. So I guess her womb is still pretty youthful, if you know what I mean. It's not showing the signs of age like the other ones. Or is it? Because as she was having great difficulty in childbirth, the midwife said to her, don't be afraid, for you have another son. Don't be afraid of being in pain or having great difficulty. It's a boy. It's the sex of value. Imagine it was a girl. Imagine you were going through this for a woman. Imagine you were going through this, but it was just something with a vagina. Imagine that. No, don't worry. It's male. As she breathed her last, for she was dying, she named her son Ben-Oni, but his father named him Benjamin. That's rude, isn't it? Your wife, the beautiful one that you loved, she dies in childbirth, and her last wish is to name him Ben-Oni, which, yeah, I agree. It's a difficult name to say. It like looks weird and it sounds weird. And then the dad's like, no, she's dead. Yeah, we're calling him Benjamin. I'm not saying Ben-Oni. Sorry. Yeah, no, and she won't, if she's dead, she's dead. She's not going to notice, right? You got the birth certificate there, right? You got the form? Write down Benjamin. So Rachel died and was buried on the way to Ephrath, that is Bethlehem. Over her tomb, Jacob set up a pillar, and to this day, that pillar marks Rachel's tomb. Israel moved on again and pitched his tent. Oh, now we're calling Jacob Israel. We've done the switch. We've done the switcheroo. Israel moved on again and switched his tent beyond Migdal Eder. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine Bilhah, and Israel heard of it. Let's go back to the story of Ham and Noah and the excuse that Ham is punished because he slept with his mother. It says he saw his father's nakedness, which if his father's nakedness refers to his wife, then he saw his mother, his father's nakedness, naked. That's it. What ended up happening was the other two went and walked him backwards and covered his father's nakedness, which would say to me that they covered either his dad, who was actually naked literally, or his mother, who was naked. But that doesn't imply him sleeping with his mother. It implies him maybe seeing his mother naked, could have been just his father. So still a very harsh punishment. But my point in bringing that up was that this is how they sometimes will tell a very similar story. While Israel was living in that region, Reuben went in and slept with his father's concubine, Bilhah, names her and everything. Now, don't you think that if that had happened to Noah, it would have written it out the same way? I mean, arguably, it could be the same author. Why not just say, and Ham came in and tried to sleep with his mother to gain control of the family. And then he told his brothers about it, and they went in and covered up their mom, who was still naked because she didn't have any agency to cover herself up. I don't know. It doesn't make sense in the context. I think when people sort of spin that story to make it sound like that, it doesn't seem particularly reasonable to me. Why would that be so subtle? Oh, they're afraid to just say it. No, they're not. No, they're not. If you guys are going to talk about context, you should use it to disprove your own guesses, because that one's a guess, and I don't think it's a very good one. Jacob had 12 sons, and this is going to be good to hear them listed in one place, because we have heard them listed during a really funny episode with all this farcical sort of nonsense and trying to get laid, and slave makes this baby, Leah makes this baby, Rachel makes this baby. So now let's have it all in order. Jacob had 12 sons. The sons of Leah, Reuben, the firstborn of Jacob, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Ishkar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin, the favorites. The sons of Rachel's maidservant, Bilhah, Dan, and Naphtali. The sons of Leah's maidservant, Zilpah, Gad, and Asher. These were the sons of Jacob, who were born to him in Padan Aram. Jacob came home to his father Isaac in Mamre, near Kiriath Arba. New words alert. Never heard those ones before. That is Hebron. Yeah, we knew it was Hebron. Why'd you have to make it difficult for me to say Kiriath Arba? Like, that's stupid. Where Abraham and Isaac had stayed. Isaac lived 180 years. Then he breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, old and full of years, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Well, I gotta say that episode was a whole lot of nothing. Jacob came back to Bethel, and then not really. He kept going. I think this was kind of just like a recap previously on Bible, and then they give you this chapter just to remind you of what happened. Fascinating to me that Reuben slept with Jacob's concubine, and he heard of it. End of story. Like, why did you just tell us that and then nothing happens? Like, nothing comes of it. What? Maybe there will be a consequence, but you'll have to subscribe, ring that bell, like the video, and maybe leave me a comment to guess what's going to happen to Reuben. Or if you know, do a spoiler alert. Spoiler alert us. I feel like the next chapter is going to be boring. It's going to be horrible, and I'm going to try to read it really quickly. But the one after that, all I'll say is this. Let me just say this. Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yeah, let me just say that. Guys, thanks for joining me. Did I say to subscribe? I think I did. It doesn't hurt to do that. We'll see you next time. And I do want to start saying this at the end of every episode. God bless the reading of his word.